All right, it is time to get serious about those intros. What's quack-a-lackin'? I'm still here at the Hole in the Mountain County Park in Lake Benton, Minnesota. I just finished wrapping up this week's vlog over on the Quackers World channel, where I go to the Snyder cabin, which was an authentic pioneer cabin constructed in 1860. And I went ahead and filmed the behind the scenes for that on this channel as well. So I will leave a link to both of those videos in the pinned comment down below if you're interested in watching either one of those. But while I was here, I wanted to stop and just touch on the intros for a minute, because this is the 14th week of this journey, and I'm at a point now where I want to start focusing more on skills development, because I have good habits laid. I'm getting out and I'm filming consistently, and I'm doing all of that. So now I want to focus on more of my skills. And so, sorry, I'm sitting under this tree in the shade and the insects are just out. So one of those is the intro, and what some people would refer to as a hook, because really it's the first few seconds of the video that make or break it, right? Because that's where you're either going to captivate someone's attention or you're going to lose them as a viewer. It's all going to happen in the first few seconds. So the intro is very important. And there's two things I want to start doing consistently to help me improve with my intros. Because for one thing, I normally don't, I will think about them for 10 or 15 minutes before I start filming, but outside of that, I really don't put a lot of thought into what I'm going to say. I just open my mouth and whatever comes out, and I need to improve on that. And one of the pieces of advice that I've been given is to make sure that the first sentence of your intro contains the title of the video. And I understand that for a couple of different reasons, because for one, the title and the thumbnail set an expectation with your viewer, right? And so you want the very first few seconds of the video to let them know that you're going to deliver on that expectation. And having the title of the video within the first few seconds of commentary or audio is one way of doing that. And then it has the added bonus that this whole algorithm these days is really tied into Gemini, who really watches your video. She doesn't just read through the transcript. She watches what's on the screen, what's around you, and definitely listens to what you have to say. And so that will further reinforce if your first sentence contains the title, or at least a substantial portion of the title. That helps with that aspect of it as well. But my challenge here is that I don't ever know what my title's going to be. And I know everyone says, do the title and thumbnail first before you make the video. And I understand why they say that, but it's just not possible in my case, because for one thing, I can't do the thumbnail because every location I go to is different from week to week. So it's impossible for me to do the thumbnail until I'm there filming. And I could come up with the title in advance, and I kind of do have a general title in mind before I start the video. But then after I have edited the video, I will describe it in exact detail to Gemini. Everywhere I went, everything I saw, everything I talked about, the colors, anything that I saw go on around me in the video, things that I was thinking while making the video. I described this video in more detail than any person could. And then I asked Gemini to help me come up with a clean description and to provide me with 5 to 10 suggested titles for the video. And she usually provides me with 8 when I phrase it that way. It's been 8 every time, in fact. But she provides me with 8 titles, and I take 1 or 2 of her suggested titles. Then I take my original title that I had planned to go with, and I kind of rework it all together into what finally goes up on the channel. And so with that method, it's difficult for me to include the title in the first sentence because I don't yet know what the title's going to be. But I do know what my rough idea of a title is going to be, and that should hopefully be significant enough to get me through. So I need to start working on that. I tried to do it in this week's vlog out at the Hole in the Mountain Park. I'm not quite sure that I did it, but I at least made my first effort into it. So that was one thing. And the other thing is, and I've heard this at other times in my life as well, to film the intro last, because if you film the intro first, what happens is that you get into editing and you find yourself trying to edit together a narrative that matches that intro, because you want to deliver on that expectation that you set for the viewer at the beginning, right? So you need to carry that through your narrative. And so that's a challenge. And so people say to film the intro last after you've finished filming everything else, then film the intro. And that makes sense, because if you do that, then you already know everything that has happened in the video. You know everything the viewer is going to see. And so you can formulate an intro around that specifically. And so instead of tailoring the narrative of the video to match the intro, you tailor the intro to match the narrative of what's going to happen. And so that absolutely makes perfect sense. But it's also very difficult from my case, because as you can tell from my videos, I do virtually all of my filming in outdoors locations. And to film a 30-minute vlog for Quackers World, I will usually spend a few hours out in this location. And so you have things like the sunlight changes, or the weather might change, or a lot of times I start at one point and I go to a different point, and I don't want to have to travel all the way back to where I started to redo the intro. And so those are challenges, and the way I've decided to overcome this is I'm still going to film my intro at the beginning before I start, like I've always done. But in the back of my head, I'm going to keep in mind that that's more of a warm-up intro, and it's there that I will have just in case I need it. Then I film the whole video, and after I finish the whole video, then I film an intro again, doing it the way they suggest. That way all the filming is done. I know everything that's going to be in it, and I can tailor the intro to the video that way. And so my solution is to do both, do one at the start and one at the finish. And when I get into editing, I'll look at them both and see which one turns out better. And again, this week at the vlog for Hole in the Mountain with the Snyder Cabin, that's the first week where I did this. And unfortunately, I feel like both of the intros pretty much are the same. They don't say really anything any different. So it wasn't quite the result that I was hoping for, but it is what it is. I've got two of them to choose from now, and I won't know until later which one I'm going to go with, but I at least have two to choose from. And that's a consistent habit that I want to go into and explore more moving forward. So that's the two things right now for tightening down the intros. I need the first sentence to include the title, or at least some remnants of what I expect the title to be. And then I need to double down on the intro so that I have a choice between them. And that's where I'm going with trying to tighten my titles up, and or not the titles, but the intros, trying to tighten my intros up. And as I say, that's really where it all starts. That's where you're either going to captivate someone's attention and get them curious enough to follow the rest of the story, or it's where you're going to just lose interest right out the gate, and you're going to get those 30-second drops that are so dreaded and that we all fear. So in attempt to cut back on the number of 30-second drops, I'm going to work on my intros really hard over the next few weeks. And once I get these two habits laid with the intros, then I'll take a look at where I need to go moving forward beyond that to refine them more, as well as looking into other things in my videos to work on. But right now it's going to be the intros, is for the next couple of weeks anyway, is going to be the core focus. And I just thought I would make a quick video while I was here to share this step in my process, this part of my journey at 14 weeks in. And I hope it's beneficial to someone out there who is either recently started this journey for themselves, or who is just thinking about starting this journey, and you want sort of a crystal ball look as to what to look forward to, or things that you might want to keep in mind from the beginning that I'm not beginning to keep in mind until 14 weeks in. You'll have a little bit of a head start on me. So I hope the video is beneficial to someone, and if nothing else, it's just sort of like a diary journal entry for myself, so that one day in the future, when I'm much deeper into this process and much better than I am, I can look back on these experiences that I had in my early days. So that's about it. If you found any value in this video, please do me a huge favor and tap the subscribe button down below. And if you are a content creator, I will most certainly do the same for you as well. And in fact, I'm going to watch a few of your videos and maybe leave one or two comments. So Yeah, that's about it for now. I'm going to get myself gathered together. Now that I've finished filming, I'm just going to enjoy this area for a little bit, find a spot with a few less insects, have a little bit of a picnic. I have some food and drinks. I'm going to have a picnic, enjoy the rest of the day, and then head back home to Sioux Falls so that I can get an early look at the footage I recorded today. So thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Quackers out.